I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that. Spitting slow, spitting fast. I could roast, I could gas. Think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains that last, and to believe in what you got, it was built to last, yeah.
Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Gonna learn the consequence of being incompetent. Mental health is confidence, dreams and some modestness. I'm not here to save the day, that's for you to take away. I could play a million mind games, but instead I say something not illogical, something that is topical. Rub it on and watch it go, make yourself unstoppable. Dreams are irresponsible, but they're always possible. If you just believe, you could be so remarkable.
Thoughts in my head, a collage and they spread. I'll be great one day, going off of my meds. No, I'm not giving up, no, I'm not giving in. I will make it to the top, taking off in the wind. I gotta make it, I'm saving every day to taste it. I'm patient, but my mind, it can hardly take it. I'm chasing a dream that I've had for several ages. A vacant, modern kingdom for the taking.
Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough.
What's happening, Shane?
And that gets you hyped up. You know, it's a quick 8 minutes, but I'll tell you what, we have a lot of people in the chat already. I'd love to see that. And Joey, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I got a question for you.
Shoot.
If I told you that a team is number 5 in the country, as the top 5 in the country returning offensive production, and top 5 in the country returning defensive production, and everybody in the country is overlooking them, who would you think I was talking about?
I would say like West Virginia, maybe UCF. I don't know who.
Iowa State.
Iowa
State. Iowa State, number 5, top 5 returning production on offense and defense, and number 2 nationally returning production off a team that went 6-3 in the Big 12 last year.
Yeah, you know, Joey, you're spot on, and that's why we picked this, because, you know, guys, I heard to mention dark horse. a couple days ago, and then I mentioned it last night on our show, and then an article came out, like I read like an hour later, and you know what? It's just time, because we talked about, goodness, it had to be February. There was like a way too early prediction on the rankings, and they had Texas Tech at number 4, West Virginia like number 8, or some nonsense. Things have shifted since then. So I have a CBS article that has the power rankings. And then I thought me and you would go and say, what do you think your tier lists are for these teams, and who are the dark horses? You
Okay.
ready to go?
I'm ready.
So let me share this. We're just getting right to the brass tacks, ladies and gentlemen.
Why not?
So, this is from CBS Sports from earlier this month. And, the power rankings after the spring games are kind of like, I don't know. It's just, it's way too early to kind of see exactly what happens. I mean, even the preseason polls are kind of wacky, I think. But, they have Utah at number 1. Joey, you think I could interchange a couple teams, but they're definitely, it's doable,
Yeah, I'll take that. That's fine at number 1.
Kansas and Kansas State. I think this is pretty accurate. I might put Oklahoma State in there with either of the Kansases, but I'm okay. I'm feeling it. Now here's where it gets a little bit hairy. I would put
Your audio is really messing up.
yeah, let me close this down.
Having trouble?
Yeah, I have some trouble. First of all,
Yeah, still don't have no audio. Sounds like you're in a bubble. But anyway, yeah, I'll keep talking while he's trying to work on that, because I was looking at those power rankings myself, and what he's talking about is where it gets difficult. They got Oklahoma State 4, Arizona 5, Iowa State 6, West Virginia 7. And I mean, you can interchange some of those teams. I'm not sure about Arizona, because they've got a brand new coach coming in, and yeah, they got some great returning production, but a different system, different coach, different style. I don't know how fast the team's going to catch on. It might be a smooth transition, and everything might be fine, and it could be a headache and a nightmare, right? So Arizona at 5, I don't see that. I would probably have to drop them down. I think Arizona's a dark horse. I don't think they're a front runner. I think a lot of people think they're a front runner. I think they're more like a dark horse to me.
I agree with that, Joey.
And not even the first dark horse.
Yeah, we'll I'm going to give you my dark horse in a minute. Yeah, but I mean, I really think you're right, Joey, because I was thinking Arizona. I would flip-flop Iowa State and Arizona, and then I put West Virginia at 6, and then UCF at 7, and then Texas Tech and Arizona, I think, are pretty interchangeable right here. Man, they finished pretty good, but a lot of teams finished strong, like UCF. So UCF finished strong last year. It's so hard to predict this, but this is the list that I think is fairly accurate. BYU, Cincinnati, Houston. Houston has a good coach, so I might put them a little higher up instead of Cincinnati. But I just wanted to show you guys this for a reference, and then we're going to get into, who are the contenders and who are the dark horse, and who's like, oh, you have no chance in heck. So, Joey, you had mentioned Iowa State.
Yeah, and the more I looked into them today, the better they looked.
Yeah,
as I was researching for this show, as I was doing some research for this show, I was kind of like, oh, wow. Because here's why. Before I started researching, if you'd asked me, I would have said, yeah, I think I'd put West Virginia ahead of Iowa State. But after researching and looking at Iowa State's schedule and looking at West Virginia's schedule, I think I'd put Iowa State ahead of West Virginia, because West Virginia has a tougher schedule, I believe, my opinion. Iowa State's is tough, but I think West Virginia's tougher. So I would have to put Iowa State ahead of West Virginia as in the dark horse category. I just think that they've got all the pieces in place. Can they make a run for it? Can Matt Campbell do it again? I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you, Joey. And here's what we looked at this earlier on what Vegas is saying. And I agree. Utah's in for it's not going to be smooth sailing, guys. The Magic 8 Ball was pretty hard on Utah and had 4 losses for them. But here are the odds. Kansas State doesn't have the hardest schedule. Utah, pretty easy schedule. Kansas, they have to come to Morgantown. Okay. But other than that, I think it's a manageable schedule. But this Arizona at plus 750, I don't know how I don't think that's a very good bet. I mean, if you wanted to bet Iowa State or Oklahoma State, I think Oklahoma State is the best.
Oh, that's
bet.
a better one.
My goodness.
Yeah, Oklahoma State's a much better pick there. I mean, as long as Ollie Gordon can stay healthy, I don't know if anybody can stop Oklahoma State this year.
No, there's no way. I'm just so surprised with that. But I mean,
Now, I'm not knocking anything off Kansas or Kansas State because they're good too. I mean, look, here's the thing about it. Utah. Hey, guess what, Utah? You got it easy. You're not having to play the better teams in the conference this year, really. And if you are playing them, and the only one you are playing is Oklahoma State, and you're playing them on the road in Stillwater, that's going to be a tough game for Utah. But Utah, other than that, has such an easy schedule that, I don't know if I can judge if Utah goes undefeated this year in the Big 12. Okay, are they the best team in the Big 12? I don't think so. I mean, I don't know. I'll have to watch them, but just because they go undefeated with that schedule, I don't know if you can say they're the best team in the Big 12. Now, if they play, not blow everybody away, right? If it's convincing wins, okay, maybe, but they've got the easiest schedule in the Big 12 without a doubt, and I just don't know how the committee's going to look at it at the end of the year. So Utah might be in for a rude awakening at the end of the year with that.
Yeah, Kansas State, if I remember correctly, lost a stud quarterback to Ohio State. Even with that, I think they're in the conversation for the top dogs this year. They got 2 running backs at Dylan Edwards and DJ Giddens. Man, they're going to be able to run the ball. Kansas, I don't want to put them in there because the past 2 seasons, Jalen Daniels hasn't been able to stay healthy, and he has a back injury. So you know how backs just come out of the blue. I mean, you could sneeze and your back could start hurting.
Yeah.
But Lance is a good coach, and he has all the puzzle pieces, and he could definitely, if he dodges that injury bullet, he could be in one of the top dogs too.
Now, Jason says Kansas schedule is cream. I'm gonna have to pull Kansas schedule up here again.
Yeah, pull it up.
All right, let's go here.
Yeah. So Pax, Virginia Texas sleeper, and Baylor because coach has to win or he's out.
All right, so I'm gonna share the screen here. Let's look at this Kansas schedule. He's saying cream. Let's see. All right. So August 29th, Lindenwood, Illinois, UNLV. All right, so I'll give you your first 3 games. Yeah. All right, then you got to go to Morgantown. So Kansas coming to Morgantown. That's gonna be a tough one for you.
Yeah, but they're
won
coming
2 years ago.
Healthy Jalen Daniels. If they're playing, that's a lot different if you're playing them late in the season. So that lines up for them.
Yeah, as long as he can stay healthy through the first 3 games, yeah, that's gonna be a really interesting game. And then you go to TCU. Or no, you get TCU at home.
Mm-hmm.
Then you go to Arizona State. That is an easy game there. I'll give you that. You get Houston at home. That's an easy one. You go Kansas State away, and that's not cream. That's gonna be tough. You get Iowa State at home, so that's good. BYU away. That could be tough. Colorado home, it wouldn't matter. I don't believe either way about this time of the season. Baylor, I don't think that one matters too much.
No,
So it's one of the easier schedules, but it's still tough when you think that you got West Virginia and Kansas State both on there, and West Virginia and Kansas State are going to be pretty good teams.
I don't know. I
Both
can't believe Baylor's in the cellar with the potatoes.
Well, I can't either. And I don't know. I just feel like Dave Aranda may not be the right man for the job. Then, or I think year one he was working under Patterson's recruits, right?
Well,
And
yeah, they did get what's his name, Jake Spavital. Is didn't he
Sabatol,
coach? Yeah,
Sabatol,
didn't he coach in Morgantown?
yeah, he was Dana Holgerson's offensive coordinator in 17 and 18.
Yeah,
But then he went to Texas State, I believe.
I think
So,
Cal maybe.
but he's just. I mean, he's good. He's a good offensive coordinator. Don't get me wrong, but it's still got. I don't know. I don't know what the culture's right or something. I don't know what it is about Dave Aranda down there. Seems like to me he's too quiet, laid back, or something. That's
I
just
don't know.
me.
They need to fire. There's no dogs down there. There's no dogs anymore. They used
Yeah,
to be. They used to put up numbers and push people around. The offensive line used to just murder people.
yeah. Paxton's saying Gary Patterson's on Baylor staff. Yeah, and see that's the recruits that he done that Dave Aranda done so well with. All those were Gary Patterson recruits, and since they graduated and left, he's went downhill. I just don't know if he's got what it takes. So I can't pull for Baylor this year. Hey, I hope they surprise me. I hope they surprise me like West Virginia surprised everybody last year. Come out and end up fourth or fifth in the conference, but I just don't see it.
Maybe TCU can pull one out. They got a stud. And, I can't even say his last name. It's Nana Asafa Mensah. I think that's it. He's from Notre Dame, defensive lineman, and they got a cornerback from Texas. I mean, they're adding some pieces, but is it going to be enough to keep them to make them competitive? But you never know, because I sound like a broken record, but guys, they are 20 months away from playing in a national championship game. The cupboard isn't that bare. I don't care if there's transfers or not. You have basically the same, infrastructure there as far as coaching and facilities and recruiting. I don't know, but I just I saw an article too that said West Virginia is a dark horse, and I don't know if I'd put them at the top of my list. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's pretty close. I think Iowa State would be my lead dark horse.
I think so for me too, because let's face it. If Utah wins, that's not a dark horse, right? Oklahoma State is not to me a dark horse, not to me anyway. Kansas and Kansas State are not dark horses this year by any means. And then I guess you might even look at Arizona and say, okay, they're not a dark horse because they're ranked, they're favored to be at the top, so they're not really a dark horse. After that, you look at the dark horses and you say, yeah, it's got to be Iowa State because they're returning so much production and their schedule is favorable for them. So I think that it could be a good year for Iowa State.
Yeah, they have that running back Abu Sama, like the third. Sounds like a character for Hanna-Barbera. I love that. He averaged on his freshman year. What was it? 7.5, 7.3 yards per carry.
Yeah, it was like 7.5 yards a carry. Yeah.
With a good defense and then that running game, you have it's not going to be like your quarterback has a bad game. Like a lot of these teams, but. As long as you manage the games, you're going to be competitive. So that's why they could really just jump out ahead of everyone. And they don't have an easy schedule. Their schedule reminds me of West Virginia's. And tomorrow night, we're going to talk about that, how I feel West Virginia has maybe the hardest schedule. But, I don't
Paxton,
know.
you may be right, Paxton. I mean, Dave Aranda has to win, right?
Yeah.
Baylor's got too much tradition in winning to sit there and have another bad season. I don't see it happening. So you might be right. Maybe he can light a fire. Well, I don't know. Okay, if you ask me, somebody'd have to light a fire under Dave Aranda's ass. Honestly, I think he's too laid back, too mellow, too easy going to be a head coach. I just really do.
But
I think he's a great guy.
The way contracts are written now, there's really no fire under anybody's ass because you have all those dollar bills to fall back on.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, and you get more of them if they fire you. So what are you going to do?
Yeah. Would you put, Joey, I want to ask you, so we have Iowa State, definitely a dark horse. Would you put Kansas as a dark horse because of...
No.
of Jalen Daniels' history of being injured?
No, I
Or
really wouldn't. I think Kansas has some legitimate talent.
think they're
He,
contender too, Joey. Where's
yeah,
where for ladies and gentlemen? We talk minimally on these just so we have like a sincere conversation. Uh, this is what this is because we're figuring out where we're going to place them. But we have Iowa State as the biggest dark horse, and I think coming in a close second, it's not going to be Utah, it's not going to be Kansas, it's not going to be Oklahoma State. They're on the tier. Let's see. Would you pick Arizona? Would you pick West Virginia or UCF or Texas
okay.
Tech?
I'll tell you what I would do. I wouldn't pick none of those. And here's why. I can give you my reasons for each one. Number one, I don't think Arizona is a dark horse because I think they're already ranked. They're already coming in, expected to do good in the Big 12. So I don't think they could be a dark horse.
I love that.
Number two, UCF second year in big boy football. They're not ready. I can't put them as a dark horse. Can't put UCF there. TCU, I think if they'd have done better last year, I could have them as a dark horse, but I think there's still some growing pains there. Still learning some stuff. So I'm not going to put them in there. So that leaves who? It leaves West Virginia? No, I'm not going to put West Virginia there. I'm putting Texas Tech there. I'm putting Texas Tech as a second dark horse behind Iowa State.
I like
And
it.
the only reason I'm doing this is because of how tough West Virginia's schedule is. So if West Virginia had a little bit easier schedule, I'd put them ahead of both of them.
Yeah.
But their schedule's so tough that I got to move them back. So my first dark horse is Iowa State. My second dark horse is Texas Tech. My third one is West Virginia. And I hate that as a Mountaineer, but that's what I got to say.
Mountaineer fans, you're going to hate me, but I agree with Joey. And here's my caveat. My caveat is if West Virginia wins on August 31st, they will jump to the top of my list as the dark horse. I'm getting goosebumps saying it. If they beat Penn State, all bets are off. That they're not in the conversation as a dark horse until they show they can win a couple big games. If they go 2 out of 3, beat Pitt and Albany, but I'm going to throw one out there. You said like UCF.
Good. Hold on a minute. Kip, come on, man. Look, Arizona's a great program.
No,
but they are not nothing. I mean, my goodness gracious, I don't even want to go there. West Virginia's a much better program, a much better team than Arizona right now. Bottom line, they have been for years, and they will still continue to be. Now, I'm not talking bad on Arizona. I think they're a great program. But look, Arizona for the last few years has been down just like West Virginia.
right.
So don't come in after one good year and saying we're on top because we had one good year too. And mind you, before ours, 2018 was our last good year, but we were good 2018, 2017, 2016, 2015, 2014, 2013, 2012, 2011, all the way back to about 2003.
Yeah, 2000.
So you can go,
of course, when Rich Rod.
so you can, yeah, and then you can go back before that into the 90s and the 80s and see the West Virginia success. 15th winningest program in college football history.
We'll pull up
So,
the BCS, the bold wins and stuff like that, and maybe look at that tomorrow where West Virginia falls compared to Arizona. But I would like to see that comparison, like where exactly, like as far as major bowl wins versus over the past 20 years or 25 years. That would be interesting. 20 years. But Joey, I want to ask you about UCF. So you're saying because they just came to the adult table and they're playing with the big boys, wouldn't that constitute them to be a legitimate dark horse because no one's even thinking about them?
No, I just can't. I can't do that because, I just can't. Hold on just a second. I'm gonna share something with you.
Okay.
I found this for our friend in the chat there. Whoops, I pushed the wrong thing. Okay, here we go. So let me share this screen with you. So this is for our friend in the chat, Kip. So here you go. Wikipedia. This is comparing West Virginia and Arizona. You see all this? West Virginia, all-time record, 29th in the country. Arizona, 56th. National championship, 43rd. Both of them tied for 43rd. Conference championship, West Virginia is 37th in the country. Arizona, 89th. Bowl games, 23rd. Arizona, 59th. All-time wins, we are 15th in the country. You are 57th. Bowl record, we're 77th. You're 54 because we are we are 425 winning record and you're 623. Consensus All Americans were 48th and you're 40th. Heisman's were both 38th. NFL draft picks were 47th, you're 50th. That's not too far apart. First round picks were 52nd, you're 55th. Pretty close. Weeks in AP poll were 31st, you're 53rd. Pretty far difference there. And weeks at number 1, you're 44th and we're 44th. And actually, we have spent weeks at number 1 in the coaches poll, but not the AP poll.
Yeah.
So I don't think Arizona's ever even been number 1 in the coaches poll. So yeah, you've seen every metric there, and you can
That's
see
really
West
Joey.
Virginia. West Virginia is a lot better.
As far as the stats
what?
go, I think this year people would argue Arizona is a better team.
Oh yeah, I think so too. I think
100%.
I think if they didn't have a brand new coach coming in, if they had the same coach as last year, there's no doubt about it. I'd have Arizona at the top.
It would be hands down, guys.
Yeah.
If they had the same coach and he didn't bolt for Washington, they would be eating lunches and taking milk money. Word. That was what would happen. But hey,
Casey
I'm gonna
said
get
Joey
on.
stopped in the back, and we don't like that.
Joey's, yeah, but I don't know, Joey. I'm gonna for my. So we still need number 2. So number 2 for you for your dark horse is Texas Tech.
Texas Tech, yeah.
I think I'm gonna go with. Oh my gosh, Joe, you make me change my mind because you spit the truth. So what? Iowa State's number 1. I'm gonna have to stick with UCF. Reason now, hear me out. The Knights were a dark horse maybe last year, because they were in I thought they would have been better last year. But your argument stood last year because they choked. There were some games that they should have won, but there were a couple games in there where they had no business even being competitive, and they stomped the mud hole in Oklahoma State. The last couple games they looked really good. They got KJ Jefferson back. They got that edge rusher, Nigel Kelly. They got a big linebacker there that's a stud. Gus Malzahn, I think he added some talent on the defensive end. So I don't know. Gus, like Jackson always says, Gus Malzahn always, if he's not on your radar and they're not talking about him, he always comes out swinging. So yeah. I would have them maybe 3rd on my list for dark horse.
Can I say one more thing too? Because I'm sorry, I've got to come in here again because he wants facts. So Kip is coming out with saying, "Oh my God, Brent Brennan is a better coach than Neil Brown." I'm a Wheeling native. All right, so you're a Wheeling native. All right, so San Jose State for the last several years. All right, 7-6, 7-5, 5-7, 7-1, 5-7, 1-11, 2-11. If you go back to Neil Brown at Troy before he got into WVU, 10-3, 10-3, 10-3, 10-3. So yeah, don't tell me better record or a better coach. Okay, sorry about that. Go ahead, Shane.
No, I was just gonna, that lineup there is pretty neat where you can see the stats. But we'll have this season will tell the tale. We had rated the coaches before. We're kind of feeling out the pecking order because everybody thinks their dog is the meanest junkyard dog, and there's only probably 3 dogs in the conference without teeth, right, Joey?
Right.
Chew you up and spit you out. And
right.
Week in and week out, you're going to have a piece of your butt missing because you're going to have a team gnawing on it. And it's going to be like that week in and week out. Joey, I want to throw another name at you. Colorado. They have a lot of studs coming in from the transfer portal.
Don't make a team.
Of course. If they were 5-0, what would you say? Because last year they were 4-0.
Well, that's just it. I wouldn't say a thing because You got to figure they're going to start out with their easy games, obviously. So if they start out 3 or 4-0, and it will surprise me a bit. But they're going to fall apart. They're not a team yet. They're a bunch of great players. He got some good players out of the portal. I'll give him that. But they're there and they're playing for a highlight reel. And when you're there playing for a highlight reel, that's not a team. That's individual people just saying it's me, it's I. There's going to be arguments by the end of the season. I just see it happening. I'm sorry, I do. And I just think that Colorado's just not going to make it this year. They can't be a dark horse to me.
I agree. And Joey, I'm going to add salt to the wound. What I love to see them make a run, and I love to see the highlights and just the reaction from the fans and just people buy into college football. They're buying in for the wrong reasons because you see the celebrities coming in, this, that, and the other. But like I said last show, I get caught up, and I'm an easy mark for clickbait. So, but on paper, and I looked it up today. I did a little research on, their running game was probably the worst in America last year. Their offensive line was horrible, and Prime called him out end of the season, said he's going to find some new big guys to see if they'll play ball.
Horrible. I mean,
but just like you said, Joey, you're right. They're bringing in all those new offensive linemen. There's no consistency, and from a depth perception, you're when you have all those transfers, you're trying to find out who the number one is. You're not having any guys coming from last year that have that number one spot. There's no consistency. And they turned over their half of the
also, you got to look at this. You have to look at this too. Who's their quarterback?
Yeah.
And what kind of quarterback is he? He's a scrambling quarterback. He runs around back there. That means the offensive line needs to know where he is all the time, and you don't learn that in year one.
No,
you don't learn that in year one. That offensive line's going to be going left, and he's going to be going right so many times. It's not going to be funny if they don't know what he's doing.
And there's no combine skill set where they test the eyes in the back of your head. And last time I remember, none of these kids that he pulled in as transfers have two sets of eyeballs. So they're just so unpredictable. I don't know if they stay out of the bottom tier. So so they're not on my in the con. I'm going to go with, Texas Tech. Okay. They had lofty expectations last year. Joey McGuire, it was the second season, but they didn't finish with a bang, more of a whimper, but they kind of limped in. They got Taj Brooks. He's coming back. He's electrifying. And then they added a big 5-star receiver, Micah Hudson. So he's the biggest name that they've ever landed in program history. So
yeah, but Texas Tech did something. Texas Tech did do something really special, and that was have back-to-back winning seasons in the Big 12.
Yeah.
And they hadn't done that since 2009 with Mike Leach.
Yeah. That I didn't even. You know what? I didn't even think of that. I mean, that's so true. So I think they're back in the conversation. And they have they have West Virginia at home. Their schedule's not nearly as bad as Iowa State's or West Virginia's. So I think they are my number 2 dark horse. So let me rehash. My number 1.
You just agreed with me.
Just did. I was going to put, so I have UCF 3, Texas Tech 2 as my dark horse. And my number 1 dark horse is Iowa State. Do you have a third one, Joey?
Yeah, my third one is West Virginia. Without a doubt, my third one is West Virginia, my third dark horse. Like I say, I can't have no faith in UCF. It's second year of big boy football. Sorry, UCF, but quite a few teams drug you up and down the field. I know you had some great games and stuff, but I just feel like it's another year away. Just like it's one more year away for UCF. So West Virginia is my third dark horse. Yeah, how I am.
West Virginia is my honorable mention. So I have Iowa State at 1. Texas Tech at 2, UCF at 3, and West Virginia is my honorable mention. Reason being is they have such a tough non-conference schedule to start the season. So, you can't tell me you don't go into week 4 a little banged up. I mean, you're playing Penn State. Albany is going to be a 6 o'clock kickoff. Everybody's going to get to touch the ball. It's going to be happy time, blah, blah, blah. Third game is Pitt. Okay. And those guys are going to be physical. So, then you have your first game for the Mountaineers is Kansas at home. And you're going to have the quarterback that, Jalen Daniels is going to be fresh as a daisy, and you have to think of that. So then they start more conference games or even more challenging. So I think they're, on my wish list, but I don't know, Joey.
Jason, I agree. Jason, I agree with you. I agree with you, Jason, and I would include West Virginia in that too because they're getting some beef up front and they're getting a lot more physical.
Yeah.
So this league is turning. Where it used to be run and gun and and fun and gun and just throw the ball down the field. It's becoming a back. It's becoming a running back conference now, right? We're pounding it out. West Virginia's got 2 really good running backs, plus Garrett Green, who's a running quarterback. Kansas has the same thing. Kansas State has the same thing. Hey, Iowa State's got the same thing too. That's what the conference is becoming. And yeah, I agree with that statement.
And to add on to that, I think those are the skills that travel well in a conference that expands the entire nation. I just think it's a lot easier to be consistent as a football team when you have those fundamental strengths as a running team. I don't know, Joey. That's my, those are my. Now let's talk about tiers. Let's talk about the bottom tier. Okay.
One more thing. I'm sorry, Kip. Kip, have you ever been where Troy is? Do you know where Troy is that you say it's such an easy place to win at, comparing it to San Jose State? I mean, I don't know about that. I don't know that Troy's that much easier to win at compared to San Jose State. Maybe a little bit, but not much.
I think at
You
this
agree with
point,
that, Shane?
I think with Neil Brown and as comparison, we don't have a lot of ground to, it's not like he's beaten, at Troy, he upset a couple good teams. Okay. But at West Virginia, he doesn't have that bling bling win, for us to put him over. This year is his opportunity to, either be a better coach or, we'll see here in about 120 days. Tim Green, I have a question, Joey. What game should we pull out the Coal Rush uniforms? Should it be Iowa State? Yeah.
No, I've got a game for that one. I really do. I've got a game in mind because the Berets said they're not going to do it in the Penn State game, which is where I thought it should be done.
Yeah.
I guess the game that I would choose would be Kansas, and here's why. We were the first team that lost to Kansas. Remember, 2 years ago, we played them third game of the year, and it was Kansas's comeback, and nobody knew that they were going to be so good under Lance Leipold, year one, remember? And they came out and just shocked West Virginia in Morgantown. So, hey, why not? Why not just pull them out for them? I don't know. I don't know of a game on the schedule that really impresses me to pull them out enough, except for Penn State.
Yeah, it has to be a night game, and that's what I'm thinking. It has to be, not a 6 o'clock kickoff like Albany, because we're not going to pull it out for that. It has to be a night game. In Iowa State, when Will Greer traveled there, if I remember correctly, it was a night game, and the Mountaineers went in there with no losses, and they came out with a black eye. Will Greer is a very underrated quarterback, and he was dynamite, and he just got punched in the mouth a few times there. That was Iowa State had black uniforms on, correct? If I'm correct, but yeah. I don't know. I don't know what night game that would be. I would, I look at the schedule. Kansas is the first game, and I'll definitely be going to Kansas. I don't know. Depending on
But
my
I
kid.
appreciate the I appreciate the question though, Timothy. But yeah, but now this, I don't want to harp on this too long because this is the Big 12 show. But you know, we're as you if you're in here and you're in the Big 12 channel or in the West Virginia channel and you're not a West Virginia fan, we appreciate you coming in. Both of us are West Virginia fans, but I'm not going to be a homer. If I think West Virginia's going to lose the game, I'll tell you. And if like you heard right now, they're my third dark horse to win the conference. Where I think most West Virginia fans will tell you, "Hey, yeah, we're going to win the conference this year." You know, they ain't nobody beating us. Yeah,
An article where it says West
yeah.
Virginia is the dark horse, and if you Google it, it'll come up. But I don't agree with that. I think they're because of the schedule, and I have Jason Spangler said West Virginia beat Penn State. Yes, and that would be very good for the conference as overall. Any non-conference
So it was
win.
announced today. That's the big noon kickoff game, right?
Yep.
That's the Fox big noon kickoff game. So that's the biggest game for the Big 12 that weekend. So West Virginia really needs to win that game. It would look really good on the Big 12. I mean, if West Virginia can win that game, though, what does that do? That puts a huge target on their back. All of a sudden, Kansas comes to Morgantown looking for that target to hit, right? And so if West Virginia can beat Penn State, we might pat ourselves on the back and be all happy, but then we got a gauntlet in the Big 12 that we're going to have a target on our back, knowing that we had beat a top 10 team. So
yeah, that does put a target on the back. There's a lot to be said about mojo and swagger. You know, having that swagger, knowing that you took, a Big 10 school and put a licking on them. That would bode well for the Big 12. Any chance of 9-3 Big 12 team makes it over a 9-3 SEC team or a Big 10 9-3 team? I would have to say, if they win their conference championship, it would have to be like, okay, Paxton, let me give you an example. I hate using West Virginia, but who else plays who plays Illinois the second team? Was that Texas Tech plays Illinois or Kansas? I think it was Kansas plays Illinois. If you lose to a non-conference team, but you can't have 3 conference losses, Paxton, I would have to say no. They're not going to make it in over an SEC team the way that contract's written. It's just, you're not going to get that at-large bid unless you lose games early and are smoking hot at the end. I don't see it happening.
I don't know. Here's how I look at that though. The Big 12 is really good. Probably every year your top 10 in the Big 12 are going to be just as good as one another, right? Number 1 could beat number 10 about every year in the Big 12, I guarantee you. And maybe even deeper than that. Where in the SEC, that's not the case. In the Big 10, that's not the case. There are not 10 teams in the Big 10 or 10 teams in the SEC that could win that conference every year. But in the Big 12, you have that. So I think a 9-3 team could get into the playoffs. I really do. I think that because of how tough and how similar the teams are, and how tough the road is in the Big 12. You've got a bunch of teams in the Big 12 that are your teams out of the SEC, like your Tennessees or your Kentuckys, or even occasionally your LSUs. That are just there. They're not your Georgias and Alabamas, but they're the teams that can fight you, right? That's what the Big 12 is full of. Those teams that can really beat anybody in the country on any given Saturday. So that's what the Big 12 is. It's made up of all those teams. Some of your weaker programs are in the Big 10 and the SEC and even ACC. I know there's a few weak ones right now in the Big 12, but I think they're coming on strong. So I think that the Big 12 would get in.
To add on to what you're saying, Joey, is you got to think the bottom tier of the Big 12 now has, you could argue that TCU would fit in there, and they played for a national championship 2 years ago. Right. You can't say that an Arkansas or Vanderbilt, Baylor, 10 years ago were top 3, top 5. And you can't say that
Right.
about Northwestern or Rutgers. I mean, it's just there's a little more parity in the Big, not little, a lot more. So I don't know. Let Jason. I can't wait to repeat the glorious night in Morgantown. What he's referred to, Joey, is Kansas beat the snot out of us.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. He's remembering that night. I remember that. I remember that too. And that's why I say let's pull the Coal Rush uniforms out for that. Let's
If
do the
that's a
black
night game,
uniforms
that's
that
a
because
no-brainer. It's a no-brainer.
and,
But
and there's a possibility you think there's a possibility because you could look at the you could say we'll have them on the of the Penn State game. We're not going to have them, right? But if we win the Penn State, the Pitt, and the Albany game, and Kansas wins their first 3 games, both undefeated, that could be a night game in Morgantown.
yeah,
That could be a night.
yeah, that Jason was just basically saying exactly what we said with the top to bottom. That's so true.
Right.
Kip
No,
said
and it can't be.
for,
It just
for Kip giving us heat and we giving him heat back, he's giving West Virginia some love and saying that Kansas is going to lose in Morgantown. Didn't Magic 8 Ball
all you
pick
got to do is look at. All you got to do is look around the other conferences. I'm serious. Let's look at the SEC and say, okay, if we took Vanderbilt out of the SEC and put them in the Big 12, where would they finish? Well, probably the same place they're finishing in the SEC, right? Probably at the bottom. If we pulled Tennessee, I mean Tennessee was down for a lot of years and they're doing good now. But if we pulled Tennessee out of the SEC and put them in the Big 12, how would they do? Well, they would be right there in that mix of the top 8 teams. They'd be right there in that mix of the top 8 teams in the Big 12 who'd be fighting for the conference championship this year.
Let's talk about that, Joey. Where would you? I would put them right about the smack beside West Virginia, maybe in front or behind them. So maybe 5th spot,
Yeah.
6th.
Yeah, that'd be about right.
Yeah. And that's
and then you go over to the Big 12. Yeah, you go over to Big 12 or the Big 10. I mean, how about Wisconsin? Pull Wisconsin out of the Big 12 and put them, or out of the Big 10 and put them in Big 12. Where would you put them? Probably about the same place they're going to finish in the Big 10.
Yeah, I'd put them right above UCF then. Let's talk about SEC Missouri. They're good this year. I would probably put them a Missouri team this year. They were so good last year. I would probably put them right.
I went to Mike again.
Yeah.
He's having some trouble with his mic tonight.
No, what's happening is when I share my screen, these ads pop up and someone starts yapping and it talks over me.
Yeah, I hate them things. So, all right. Well, so hey, listen, before we get off here, I'm going to start telling everybody one more time. Now, we have a new show on Monday night, and it's sports trivia. It's a lot of fun. We started at 10:30, and the reason why is because I do trivia on a lot of other channels, and we really just always start late. We always start at 10:30, and the trivia people they enjoy that. They come out late and they just hang out. I'd love for everybody here to come and join us Monday night for sports trivia, and just have some fun, lay back. Me and a girl named Gutter Girl, well, Gutter Pub. She's got a great channel called Gutter Pub. I call her Gigi. She's a great friend of mine. She's co-hosted with me, and she's amazing. So come out and check that out Monday night. And don't forget Shane's show tomorrow night. Shane, tell them what you got planned for tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night, guys, we basically break down West Virginia's schedule, the murderous schedule they have, and we're going to talk and we're going to rate each game from the easiest to the hardest. And you're going to be surprised where Pitt falls, ladies and gentlemen.
Folks, I think I hate WU. My cousin is Devin Carter. I'm not talking about WU past. I'm talking about the Arizona future. Arizona has the perfect coach for the team going forward. Maybe, I think it's yet to be seen. Be careful, right? Because we brought Neil Brown in from Troy, and we expected to just have a big turnaround and everything to be great.
What-
And we've had a struggle for 4 years.
We
So
had to
I hope that does.
trust the
I hope
climb,
that,
right?
yeah, I had to trust the climb. I hope that doesn't happen at Arizona. But you didn't. He's not following a coach like Dana Holgerson was. That's a good thing.
No,
Dana
no,
Holgerson is a horrible coach, and he
Yeah.
had our program in a mess. We might have been good those years. We might have been good in 2016, 17, 18, and all those years. But I'll tell you right now, our program was a hot mess under Dana Holgerson.
Arizona had some skill players stick around that are good, and that's why they're being picked to finish as strong as they are. But unfortunately, if they had kept their coach, they would have been just taking people's lunches and drinking, taking lunches and taking the milk money.
Yep. Yeah, that's for sure. Well,
8 o'clock tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. I hope to see you there. Jason Spangler, Kip Bennett. I want to see you on there because I'll be talking about your teams. And I'm gonna tell you where I think your team falls as far as the oh shit scale on West Virginia fans wanting to see them. So
yeah, Jason, we had the fast dudes. We had Will Greer, David Seals, even back to Kevin White, Clint Trickett, Geno Smith, Avon Austin, Stedman Bailey. Yeah, all those guys you've heard of, know of, and loved in the NFL too. Yeah, they were all West Virginia, and they laid it to Kansas quite a few years. But
Jason,
anyway,
subscribe to the WVU channel too, and we'll see you there. So
yeah, Jackson, since you're here, please drop the link to the WVU channel over in the Big 12 channel, so that the guys over there can come over here and subscribe us up. I'd appreciate that, Jackson Johnson. And I'm gonna give you a second to get over there before I end this stream, because I want him to get in there while it's live. Post the link to the West Virginia channel. So, but anyway, we do appreciate everybody coming out tonight. It's a great little crowd here with us. We had a good time. Had a lot of people on the West Virginia channel, a lot of people on the Big 12 channel, and just a great conversation out there in the chat, and it kept the show going. So that was really cool. We appreciate all you guys. Anything else, Shane?
no, guys, I was excited to be able to talk about this, and I know we're a little all over the place at times. But we work through it. We bounce it off each other because sometimes Joey convinces me. Like I didn't put into context that Texas Tech had 2 winning seasons back to back. That's a big deal. They definitely jump up on my list to 2 from 3. So, I like to hear what you have to say because it's an art, not a science. But thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you tomorrow.
All right, everybody. We thank you for tuning in. We will see you tomorrow.